Welcome students in the lecture of process management. Process management consists of several modules. In this lecture I will discuss the process concept and its states, program, process control block and the scheduling. Definitions. What is a process? A process is a program in execution. That is, active part of a program is called process. We know that the program primarily resided in hard disk. When user called the program, it loaded into the main memory and then it executed. What is process? Let us take some example. For example, text editing is a process. When I edit a text using word processors, this is a process. Double clicking on exe file, you may have write some programs and it is converted into exe file. When you double click on exe file or you load the file by using command line interface, it is also a process. A process is more than a program code. A process not only have the instructions, but it also consists of various type of data. It may be temporary data which is stored in the area stack, global data, and dynamically allotted memory space which is called heap. Program is a passive entity. It is not an active entity. Program means it is resided in hard disk, and when you execute it, it comes to main memory. Process is called active state. Why? Since all the hardware resources are associated with the process. Just like a program counter, you have read the program counter contains the address of the next instructions and it is responsible for executing the instruction. It takes one by one instructions. By increasing the program counter by 1 till all the instructions are executed. Two processes or many processes may be associated with the same program. For example, web browsing. Many people in the internet browse the web, but web programming is resided in a server, and when you browse the web, then it create an instance, that is, a process is loaded in your main memory. This is the picture of memory, that is how process reside in memory. Text sections is the activity as represented by program. It is a set of instructions and instructions are executed using a program counter. Data sections, this is global data are stored in the data section. Heap sections allocate, heap sections store the process, the part of the process to allocate the memory space dynamically, and other instructions are loaded in the sections which is empty in the figure. Above there is a stack. The stack contain the local data, local variables. This is a program, memory layout of a C program. In C program, as you see in the diagram, initialized data, just as int x, int y is equal to 15. These are initialized and uninitialized data. This is a data segment. In heap segment, the values, the instructions, values is equal to int malloc, size of int into 5. The malloc command, you know that malloc command dynamically allocate the memory space. There is a stack segment. Stack segment contain the local variable, as you see in the figure, that the variable int values is a pointer and I is a local variable. These are stored in stack segment. Another parameters, int argc and char argv, which is a pointer to an array. It is also in the stack segment. And other instructions are loaded as shown in the arrow in the empty space of the diagram. Process state. We know that everything, just like take example of water. Water have 3 states. It changes its state when external event occur. Just like temperature. Temperature is an external event. When temperature rises, ice melt and it become water. And if the temperature again rises, then water changes state to vapor. In this process, there is 5 states. First is new state. In new state, program become active and load in the memory. When you double click a program, then a new process is created. Next is running. Running state means the instructions are being executed. That means the process which newly created is entered into the CPU. Waiting state, the process is waiting for some event to occur. Just like it needs some data or any other code. If the control do not find data or memory space or etc. resources, then the process has to wait. Ready state, the process is waiting to be assigned into a processor. When a new process is, when you click a program, a new state is created and afterwards it goes to ready state. In ready state, from ready state it goes to running state, and finally after executions it is terminated. Termination means the process has finished its executions. This is represented in the diagram. As you see in the diagram, new state means a process is created and it is admitted to ready state. After getting its time, it had to wait in ready state for some time to get the allocated time from the CPU. Till CPU not allocated its time, the process is still in ready state. When you get the time when its time come, it entered into CPU and it is in running state. After running state, after the process is completed, it is in exit, that is go to terminated state. In running state, if there is any event or IO event, IO means if it needs some data, then it has to wait and it goes to ready state. Suppose that a text file, there is a text file in hard disk and we have to count the number of words in the text file, then the processor has to give control to the IO device. IO device read the characters from the disk and CPU will increase its counter by 1. Now at the time when it is reading in the disk, IO events generally take times, so when it is reading it, the processor may set the process in the waiting state so that other process can be executed. From waiting state, it do not get back to the running state, it again has to ready state, and then in the ready state, scheduler dispatches into running state. Scheduler is a program which dispatches the different process into the different queues. We will study the queues. What is queue? Queue is a data structure where the processes are stored. It is a first in, first out type of data structure. In waiting state, if it is completed, that is IO input output or reading writing operation is completed, then it get the ready state only. Otherwise it had to wait in the waiting state. In running state, if there is interrupt, any kind of failures, hardware or software interrupt, then from running state it again back to the ready state. In this way, the different processes are executed. How process is represented? Actually, process has various information. Process contains various informations, and we know that any type of data or records that contains some informations should have some heads. That means they had some attributes. Process control block is a data structure which contain the informations like process state, program counter, CPU registers, CPU scheduling informations, memory management informations, accounting informations, IO status informations. Process state. The state may be new, ready, running, waiting, or halted. The state may be numbered in the form of numeric. The process which is in new state, it can be assigned as value 0, ready assigned a value 1. In this way, the process state can be assigned. Program counter informations. Program counter is the component which is responsible for executing an instructions. So program counter is a very important resource. Program counters store the address of the next instructions. So information of program counters there should be in the process control block. CPU registers. various type of registers are there in the CPU. This registers informations should be in the program counter, process control block. CPU scheduling, which type of scheduling criteria it is using, and their type of algorithm, scheduling parameters, etc. There is various algorithm for CPU scheduling we'll study, and their information should be in program control block. Memory management informations, the memory space which is allocated to the process, the limit registers, the space, that is range of the memories which is needed for a process. Accounting informations, these informations include the amount of CPU and real time used, time limits, job or process number, so that this can be recorded for future use. I/O status informations, I/O means input output. This informations include this list of I/O devices allocated to a process, a list of open files, and so on. This is a figure representing various processes. Now, in a computer, many processes resides in the memory. In multi-programming environment, today's operating systems is multi-programming, multitasking, time-sharing operating system. So many processes is reside in the memory. Each process is assigned a PCB block. Now, a data structure program, that is PCB is program process control block. Process control block is a data structure which contain all the attributes in the last which I say in the last slide. Program control block have many instances to create many processes, and these processes are represented in the figure as a linked list. These are stored in the form of linked list. Just like it is in ready queue, a number of processes may be in ready queue, and a queue may be implemented using an array or linked list, but here the queues are implemented in linked list, in the form of linked list. Similarly, the various I/O devices, such as magnetic tape, disk, they also contain many processes, and they are also stored in the form of linked list. Representation of process scheduling. Actually, various processes reside in memory. Which process is allocated in which time? This is decided by process scheduling technique. A scheduler program do the task. Process in different states are put in different queues, as we see in the last slide. The process which are residing in memory are in ready queue. Queue are basically implemented in the linked list form. As we see in the last slide, all the queues are implemented in the form of linked list. Actually, linked list is a dynamic data structure. It can grow or shrink according to the need of the system. So linked list is preferable in this type of activity. Some process require I/O devices. Example, disk. Sometimes you have to reading and writing, or in last exam there is an example of counting the number of words stored in a file, then IO operations and processing operations both are simultaneously executed. At first the disk, at first the process control reads the word and increase the counter by 1, so there is IO operations, and increasing the counter by 1, it is a calculation operations, that is it is the operations of processor. So when it is reading, the processor has to wait. Sometimes a new process put ready queue, it wait there until it is dispatched. Whenever there is a process created, it is in ready queue. As you see in the figure, there is a ready queue. When a process is created, it is inserted into ready queue, and if it get the CPU time, then it is executed and it is terminated. If it does not get the CPU time, it has to wait in the ready queue for some time. After executing in the CPU, it may require IO operations, reading operations or writing operations. In this case, it goes to IO queue, that is device queue, and if the IO process is completed, then again it is inserted into ready queue. In this way, you have seen in the figure where there is input arrow in the CPU and there is 2 output arrows, and the output arrows and the upper output arrows, that means terminated, and which the lower output arrows, that means it has to wait for IO request. Different types of queues are represented in the form of rectangular box, and the process are represented as ellipse form, elliptical shapes. For example, if time slice expired, it is also a queue, and if time slice expired, time slice is allocated for different processes. There may be many processes, and each process has a different time slice. Now, if for a particular process, if the time slice is expired, it again has to go to ready queue, and then when it get its CPU time, it is executed through CPU. In this way, fork a child. Fork a child means fork is a command through which a new process is created. When there is a fork statement, a new process is created. Now the new process may or may not be executed at the same time. It again has to go to ready queue, and if its time slot comes, then it is executed through CPU. In this way, the scheduling is done. Schedulers. In the last slide, there is a schedulers which consists of long-term and short-term schedulers. Long-term schedulers select the process which be brought into the ready queue. In short-term schedulers, select which process should be executed next and allocate CPU. That means long-term schedulers, it's as per its name, long terms mean it executed for after a long period of time. It selects the process from the disk and take it and it put it into the new state or ready queue. On the other hand, short-term schedulers executed infrequently, and it selects the process from ready queue to the processors. Apart from long-term schedulers and short-term schedulers, there is a medium-term schedulers, and it is needed for swapping techniques. That means if the process is presently not executing, the medium-term schedulers remove the process from the memory and later re-enter into it. For some reason, it may happen that some processes which is in CPU, which is currently being executed by CPU, is temporarily halted due to some reason. In this case, the medium-term schedulers select the process and swap it into the memory, and then after when the required resources is found, then again it put into the CPU. That is swap in and swap out. Swap in, swap out means it is out from the CPU if there is if it needs some resources and temporarily it is unavailable, and it is inserted into partially executed. It is a queue as it is in rectangular box. Now when it get the resources, again it swap in into the ready queue and the process continues. There are two type of process, as I said earlier, that is IO bound process and CPU bound process. IO bound process generally needs input output devices, reading writing operations, and it takes some times and resources are needed. If it does not get the resources, then it has to wait. On the other hand, CPU bound process is not need the IO operations, so it is executed and it has no time. It does not waste its time. In IO processor spends more time doing IO operations than computation operations. As I say earlier, that reading a file from the disk and counting its number of words, if it is IO bound process, it definitely a IO bound process, since the reading is done from the disk. So there is lesser processing. Only reading is only reading process is taken place. So there is lesser computations. On the other hand, a CPU bound processes, that calculations based processes, it only needs CPU and no other IO devices. Context switch. What is context? I have discussed about the mode of operations of operating system. It has two modes. One is user mode, another is kernel mode. When operations switches from user mode to kernel mode, the operating system has to save various status informations, just like process ID, registers, information about registers, program counter, etc. So that after executing the process in kernel mode, it has again to return back into user mode. Now, when CPU switches to another process, the system must save the state of the old process and load the saved state for the new process via context switching. That is, context switching is a process. Context switch is a method in which the CPU switches from one process to another or one state to another. In this process, it has to save the all informations in a separate memory space, so that after executing the current instructions or process, it may return back to the old process. Context of a process represented in the program process control block. All the information are stored in process control block. Context switch time is a pure overhead. The system does no useful work while switching. Actually, the various type of information, it is a overhead, and it is so heavy that operating system cannot do useful work when it is switching from one process to another, one mode to another. The more complex operating system and the PCB, the longer is the context switch. If the PCB is very heavy, that is, it contains many informations, or operating system is very complex, then the context switch, that is, time to save the context, is also take long time. Time dependent on hardware support. Some hardware provides multiple set of registers per CPU, multiple contexts loaded at once. If there is a multiple set of registers or if there is multiple registers, then you have to store all the informations about the registers. So it is dependent on hardware also. CPU switch from process to process. As you see in the figure, a context switch occurs when a CPU switch from one process to another. The context switch may be small or may take long time as per the hardware, as per the operating system, or the heaviness of the process control block. In this figure, there is two processes, P0 and P1 are executing. When P0 is executing, the P1 is in idle state. Now, when P0 is executing and it has to execute P1, it will temporarily halt its present working of P0, executing P0. Now, how it is halted or temporarily stopped? In an interrupt or system call from the operating system it get, and it temporarily halt the present working. Now it saved all the information of PCB0, that is process P0's informations. It is saved in a memory space. Now load the states of PCB1, and now it is needed since to execute another process P1, and the operating system has to have had the knowledge of all the informations about the P1. So the states of PCB1 is loaded and P1 start executing. Now a similar interrupt may be generated by the operating system or system call, and if there is system call or any interrupt generated, and it again switches to PCB 0, and the steps are same. It has to save all the information of PCB1 into memory space and reload the process P0. This is continuous. process state, we know that everything, just like take example of water have 3 states. It changes its state when external event occur, just like temperature is an external event. When temperature rises, ice melt and it become water, and if the temperature again rises, then water changes state to vapor. In this process there is 5 states. Process creation. A process may create another process is called a children, which in turn create other process and form a tree of process. Generally, process identified and managed by a process identifier. Process identifier is an integer. Resource sharing options. Parent and children share all the resources. How it is done, we will see in the next slide. Children share a subset of parents' resources. Parent and child share no resources. Execution of options. Execution options. Parent and children execute concurrently. Concurrently means not parallelly. We will discuss concurrent executions and the subsequent class of process management. Parent waits until children terminates. Now, this is represented through the figure. A parent process create a child process. The elliptical shapes is represent a process. Now PID is equal to fork. Fork is a system call used in Unix. Now it create a process. When a PID when fork is executed, a child process is created. Now here child process is created when PID is equal to 0. Actually fork command will return some value. If PID is 0, then a child process is created. Now child process then executed by exec command, system call, and after executions it exit using exit system call. Now parent process is still continuing. In the upper arrow it is written that parent PID is greater than 0. That means if PID is non-zero or greater than 0, it has to wait till the child process continues. Now when child process completed in this and parent process also exit, and it resume to another process. In this way the parent and child process is executed. In address space mechanism, the child duplicates its parents. Child has a program loaded into it. In Unix system call, as I said earlier, that fork system call create a new process, and exec system call used after fork to replace the process. Memory space with new program. Parent process call wait for waiting for the child to terminate. Now this is a C program. Whatever I have said in the last slide, whatever figure you have seen, that is implemented using a C program and the system call of Linux, Unix. PID is equal to fork, and if PID is less than 0, the A print, there is an error. Actually, if there is negative value of PID, then the execution terminate. If PID is equal to 0, a child process is created, and if PI is greater than 0, no child process is created, parent process continues, and it wait until the completions of child process. In this way, the parent and child process execute concurrently. Concurrently means not parallelly. It is a time bound process. Some amount of time is given to parent process and some amount of time is given to child process. Now process termination. Process executes a last statement, then asking the operating system to delete it using exit call. When we use exit system call, it delete the process from the memory, returns the status data from child to parent. Actually, parent process is the process which is responsible for executing the child process. So unless the child process returns its status data to the parent process, it is in waiting stage. Process resources are deallocated by the operating resources. Whenever there is a exit system call, the resources which are allocated to a process is deallocated. Parent may terminate the executions of the children process using the abort system call. Abort is a system call used in Linux. When abort is used, that means the process is terminated. Some reasons for doing so is child has exceeded the allocated resources. It may be possible the child process may exceed its allocated resources at the time it is aborted. Task assigned to a child is no longer required. When child process is completed and task is no longer required, at that time abort is used to terminate the process. The parent is exiting. Suppose that parent process exit from the program, then the operating system does not allow the child process to continue if its parent terminates. A summary. In this lecture, I have discussed what is a process and process state. The process is a active part of a program, and process state, there are five process state: new, ready, terminate, waiting, etc. How the informations of process is maintained using a program process control block. What is a scheduler? Scheduler is a program to load a particular process into the CPU. It also have the ability to swap in, swap out. That is, process if it not getting any resources, the process may be swap out from the processor, and if the schedule if it get the resources, then again it swap in into ready queue. How the process is created and terminated? Process is created through in Unix using fork command, and it is terminated using exit command. if for any reason untimely exit, the abort system call is used. In the next lecture, I will start the CPU schedulings. Thank you.